Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope that you are having an amazing Tuesday night. And I am Haley Gray. I'm the group owner in the Women's Entrepreneur Network. I hope that you are having a fantastic evening. I wanted to talk about a topic that came to me earlier in the day that was asked by somebody when I was doing a Q&A. And it was really kind of fascinating because it was, okay, so I've been told to do all of the marketing things and all of the marketing places. And basically, I'm going to run around in circles like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to do all the things for all the people all the time, drive myself nuts. And how in the world do I make it work? And thank you, Lay. Good to see you live. If you're on the live, give me a hashtag live. If you're on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. I am Haley Gray. I'm the group owner in the Women's Entrepreneur Network. I am a marketing strategist. I am a social media manager. And I am the owner of a small digital marketing agency called Fiercely Marketing. I grew the group organically from 0 to 74,000 members on only about $150 of advertising done about 6 years ago. So I have a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about when it comes to doing things and not driving yourself nuts. And in fact, and hey Tish, and hey Jacqueline, and hey Lay, good to see you guys. So we're going to talk about doing all the things without driving yourself nuts. And I want you guys to kind of understand a little bit of my backstory so you know that I'm not bullshitting you or telling you things that aren't true. And a little bit of how I've grown my own business. So you can kind of understand my own time constraints. I am a mom of 4, and we have a petting zoo as well. We have 3 cats, a dog, a turtle, some fish, a rabbit, and a horse. And my kids are 22, 20, 17, or 18 and 14 now. And so my house is a 3-ring circus. And as you guys know, I've been growing Women's Entrepreneur Network and I've been growing my business for about 6 years. I currently have 12 people working for me. I've been growing my businesses. I don't discuss numbers because I just don't. But I have grown my business organically while managing a kid who's been hospitalized 19 times. And one of those times was for 15 months. We've done all kinds of crazy stuff. So to say that I have my own fair share of like going on in the background would be kind of an understatement. I had to figure out how to market my business, do the things well enough to bring in clients, to scale my business without going bonkers, without trying to do everything. Because there's a lot of experts out there that tell you to do, and you hear it from everybody. You need to be blogging. Has everybody heard that you need to be blogging, right? You need to be posting in every single Facebook group. You need to be visiting a dozen different Facebook groups a day. You need to be making these posts. You need to be doing these lives. You need to have the perfect website. You need to do email marketing. You need to do 2 summits a year. Stand on your head, click your heels, cross your eyes, and hold your head like this, right? And the reality is that no single person, no single small business can actually do every single one of the things. I mean, I don't care if you never have to sleep. I personally am really fond of my sleep. I have to sleep usually 7 to 8 hours a night. My body will not allow me to not sleep. I had bariatric surgery 2 years ago in the middle of all of this business growing stuff. And Tish, you are absolutely right. You need to do one thing, do it well, and then add on the next thing. So here's the deal. You need to get to know your target audience. You cannot help everybody, nor do you want to try to help everybody in your business. It is not going to work. It's not going to be profitable. You're not going to get clients. The more people you try to help, the more broad spectrum your messaging is, the fewer people you're actually going to attract in your business. I know that it seems like when we're trying to attract more people in our business and we are trying to open ourselves up for more possibilities, we're actually shutting things off. So that's kind of one of the biggest lessons that I personally had to learn the hard way more than once. The more broad spectrum you are, the less precise your messaging is, the less well your marketing tends to hit. And there are very real differences between marketing a business offline and in person versus marketing the same business online virtually, because your messaging has to be a lot more precise and a lot more targeted in the online space. You need to be much more focused on a niche. You need to be much more focused on a single message. Having multiple messages is going to drive you nuts. And hey, Ida, good to see you. So one message, one target audience, one focal point, and one main method of marketing your business. So do me a favor, y'all who are watching, and tell me what your one favorite way is to market your business. For me, I actually have two ways that I primarily market my business. I go to in-person networking meetings. I am vice president of my BNI chapter. I have been going to in-person networking meetings a lot. I go to other groups. I visit other groups. I talk to a lot of people in person. That is one of the ways that I market my business. The other way that I actively market my business, and I do get a lot of word of mouth referrals. I don't rely on that as some activity that I am doing. So I am speaking, I am going to networking events, and the next thing that I'm doing also involves speaking. I focus on running my Facebook group and doing Facebook Lives in my Facebook group. Y'all will probably notice I'm not super active in a million different Facebook groups. I've got like 4 Facebook groups that I choose to be active in. I do have a fairly extensive LinkedIn profile. I have a fairly extensive Pinterest profile. I've been around for a while. So I've had the chance to build things up in my business, right? But the primary methods that I tend to market my business are speaking to groups, networking, and speaking here on lives doing this. Now, it's really cool because when I'm doing lives, I can multitask it, right? I'm broadcasting in Women's Entrepreneur Network. I'm broadcasting into a couple of different groups, and I'm also broadcasting at the same time over to YouTube. And so Ida says she speaks in a lot of groups, podcast summits, and whatnot. And Debbie asks a really good question. How do you get events to speak at? First of all, I ask. I'm always asking for speaking opportunities. And second of all, one of the things that I have learned about speaking is to be a really good guest. I'm not always perfect at it, but one of the things that I aim to do is thank people for having me as a speaker on a podcast, and I promote them. I try to promote them at least 3 or 4 times on my social media, preferably more. One of the things I'm working on getting better at promoting people after I've been live in a group or on a podcast or something, but I also have done keynote speaking and getting other opportunities here because I network extensively and I ask for speaking opportunities. One of the things I do is I have a couple of main signature talks that I do. I talk about hacking the Facebook algorithm. I talk about social media strategy. And I have some fairly targeted things that I use to talk to small businesses. So it's important to have, 1 or 2 topics that you talk about consistently so people know what you're going to be talking about. And then asking for people to give you events. One of the other things I do is I will post on my Facebook wall from time to time, or I'll post in the group and I'll say, hey, does anybody have a group that you would like to interview me or would like me to come and do a training on this. The more you get, the more you have, the more you have, the more you get. If you're a good guest and you're sharing your speaking engagements and you're thanking people and you're sending thank you notes and you're doing all those things, the more likely you are to get more speaking engagements. And, you know, one of the things that you really want to do to promote yourself as a speaker, to get those speaking engagements, is you want to show up and you want to practice speaking. You want to do it a lot and really focus on that promotion and that thank you aspect after you do it. If you can reciprocate, even better. And thank you, Jacqueline. So I do a lot of speaking. I get speaking engagements primarily through my Facebook group because I do a lot of lives, and I get a lot of speaking through my in-person networking. Yeah, when you have the ask for the opportunity, it looks professional if you have a one speaker page. Yep. You know what's really funny, Ida, is that I just literally got my own speaker page, and I'm just now getting my speaker reels in place. I'm working with a great recording company here in North Carolina who can actually do that. We're going to be doing in-person interviews and live recordings so that I'll have that speaker reel for my page. But, you know, be really, really, really specific about what you're trying to do and how you're doing it. You can't do everything in marketing. You can't do every single thing in business and do it instantaneously. It would take an infinite amount of money, and none of us have an infinite amount of money. The fastest way to lose money is to keep pouring money into a business that is more than the business can afford, right? So you want to make sure that you are right-sizing your marketing efforts, you're right-sizing all of your expenses in your business, so that you're not driving yourself into the ground. So Debbie, a speaker page is a one sheet. One person who does really, really good trainings on becoming a speaker is Katarina Rando. I am more of like a marketing strategist kind of person. But a speaker page is basically a sheet that has your name, your headshot, and some information on what you speak about, what your main topics are, what your credentials are, where you have spoken. So in my case, I have been on all of the major channels. I've been on ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox. I've done a number of different podcast interviews. I've done a lot of different speaking opportunities. I list those on my one sheet. I also list my credentials, my best-selling books, and I do those kinds of things on there as well. You don't have to have it. I have gotten lots of speaking opportunities without having a speaker page. Like I said, I just put together a speaker page. I am literally now, y'all, just putting together a HaleyLynnGray.com website. I just got the website mostly up. I have been around for a long time. This goes back to the cobbler's children don't always have shoes. And I'm also focusing on doing the things that generate revenue first. When we start talking about marketing, we start talking about doing things, most of the time, unless you're trying to go to a lot of different third-party organizations, just a personal introduction from you to somebody else, or somebody else introduces you to somebody, is going to be sufficient to get you those speaking engagements. You don't have to have the most elaborate website. You don't have to have the most elaborate speaker pages and all that kind of stuff to get those speaking engagements. It helps if you do, but you don't have to do all the crazy things. So focus on one or two things that you do well. If you are a writer, then do blogging. You can post on Medium, you can post on a blog, you can do those things. I've done a lot of blogging. I've always gotten help with email marketing. I don't particularly do great at it. I'll be honest, you know, confession from Haley. I kind of suck at email marketing. But I do really well on being consistent, or at least appearing to be consistent on social media, because I've learned how to schedule posts on social media and batches. and then fill things in and then do lives. So it looks like I'm online all the time when I'm really not. Learn how to leverage what you're doing. Learn how to leverage your best skills. Do the things that light you up. So if you like speaking, use that to market your business. If you don't like speaking, then maybe that's not your best choice to market your business. Yes, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone and talk to people, but there are ways that are more or less comfortable to get you in front of people, to do the whole marketing thing in your business. So, one of the things I'm going to say and debunk is there is no one perfect funnel. There is no perfect book. There is no perfect Facebook Live. There is no perfect podcast. YouTube channels aren't perfect. Facebook groups aren't perfect. The way that is going to be the most perfect for you to market your business is going to be you reaching deep within yourself and figuring out where you want to spend a ton of time. I see a lot of people who write books, and books are a great way to market your business. They can be. They can be a tremendous foundation in your funnel, right? But I've also seen a crap ton of books flop badly, not because somebody didn't do a good job at writing the book, but because they didn't then take the book and make it that foundation of their funnel, and they weren't marketing it until the cows come home. You have to market what you're doing over and over and over and over again. If you're going to start a Facebook group, it's the same thing. You can't just start a Facebook group, throw 3 posts in it, and hope that it's going to grow. It's going to take consistent effort to market and produce it. If you're going to do a podcast, podcasts can be a tremendous way to grow your business. Same problem. You have to make sure that you are promoting that podcast. You don't just put out content, pumping out content endlessly. You have to promote your podcast. You have to promote the daylights out of your podcast. If you're doing a Facebook group, you have to promote the daylights out of your Facebook group. If you're doing a book, you have to promote the daylights out of the book. Are you seeing a trend here? If you're doing speaking, you promote the daylights out of the fact that you're doing the speaking. And Ida says, by the way, I just got 180 in my group. Woohoo! It is growing, Ida. That is amazing. I have a mom support group of over 700 moms. Would that be the best place to start live and get started with speaking? Yeah, absolutely. Start in front of the audience. You have 700 is a pretty big number. You should be able to turn that into something. And you should be able to do things with 700 members. Believe it or not, you don't have to have the 70 some odd thousand that I have in this group. You can't eat followers. So at the end of the day, start where you're at. I have the very unpopular opinion that you cannot eat followers. They don't always turn into buyers. They don't always turn into something. So you really, really, really want to be doing things that are leading directly to sales, not just numbers. How do you get it active? So posting regularly, giving people content regularly, you being in there, asking friends to be in there. That's the short answer. Posting every single day is really, really, really important. And she is ready to monetize it already. Yeah, you should be able to. If your group has 700 people in it and you're not seeing money coming in, then that may be a conversation that you need to have with me on ways to monetize that and turn that into a cash cow. Because it's 700 to 800 people, you should be generating a decent amount of money. So, you want to give people something that they can buy. You want to give people a reason to talk to you. You want to, build your business and put things in front of people. It doesn't really matter what the mode of marketing your business is. The most important thing is that consistency and getting in front of people. If you put high quality content into that Facebook group every single day, you're going to do really well. Posting open-ended questions to get engagement. You just learned this the last few weeks with me. Seriously? And not in the sense of I'm shocked. I'm surprised that it took you that long, or that you didn't learn that before, because that's always the thing. Those are conversation starters, y'all. Starting conversations with people is such a huge thing in your groups. I have a daily conversation starter in this group, in Women's Entrepreneur Network. I do that in all of the groups that I manage. And we also have a day of the week promo post. I don't know how much I really love day of the week promo posts, but other people love them, so I do them. That is what gets me, is what gets you in your groups. When you schedule, you forget to go and be present in the group. You do better when you're there. Yeah, for me, it's a balance. Tish, as you well know, my schedule is a little bit this side of batshit crazy, because I've been growing my business a lot since COVID started. And even the last couple of years, it's grown a lot. So it looks like I'm online a lot more than I am, because I schedule stuff. I have people in the group. I have a lot of volunteers. I have some paid people. And we all post content. And I make a point of going in and taking time to engage in the group once a day. It's important that you schedule time to go visit your group once a day and start conversations and be real with people. The way you get the group to turn into money, the way you get your Facebook to turn into money, your LinkedIn, any kinds of profiles, is having conversations with people. So starting conversations, open-ended questions, getting to know people, and then you may have a chance at selling them. So I hope that helps. Patty says, I need to do better at promoting the daylights out of the things. And yes, speaker page is a new thing. Patty, check out HaleyLynnGray.com. And I can also send you my one sheet if you guys want to see what that looks like. Your question structures were not working before. You got more engagement. Oh, okay. So here's a thing about marketing. And I'm going to be really transparent with y'all for just a second. Marketing is part science, part art, and a lot of being really inquisitive. So I'm going to do a game tonight in the group, and y'all can play along. I'm going to start a couple of threads. They're going to be completely stupid. I'll be honest. Y'all will probably think I've lost my mind. Watch it and see how they go. I'm going to do a couple of my signature silly conversation starters in the group. Y'all let me know what you think. Now, asking more in-depth conversation starters is working better for me now. But when I first started in Women's Entrepreneur Network, my group was everybody would come in and they'd consume all the content, and they would come to all the webinars, and nobody would comment on anything. And it was hella frustrating. And y'all have to understand, I'm an engineer, computer science, computer programmer with a Spanish degree, in addition to the computer science degree. And I'm also an MBA. I got an MBA from Duke with a concentration in entrepreneurship and innovation. That does not exactly scream sales or extrovert. Yeah. I'm an ambivert. I like people just fine. But I'm also an awkward, geeky kind of person. When you get to know me, I'm kind of more actually on the quiet side. It doesn't always come across in lives. So I like to sit back and watch what people are doing. So I would have all these people in the group, and they would come in and they would be consuming all this amazing information that I was putting there out in the group, because I had that experience from buying and selling businesses, from building my own businesses, from doing all the things in my business, right? And from that concentration and on mentoring other small businesses and doing all the things that I've done, people would come in and they would consume. And those of you that have been around a while, when I first started the group, it was incredibly, incredibly frustrating because nobody would comment on anything. And it was just it was heartbreaking, honestly, because people would come in, they would read, they would scroll, and then nothing. So I finally got really pissed. I honestly did. Y'all have probably heard this story from me, some of y'all that have been around. And I was finally like, fine, screw it. I'm doing it. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream? I got 114 responses, y'all. It was ridiculous. And then I was like, okay. So we're talking about all these in-depth business comments, and yay for the ambiverts. And I'm building all of these things. And, you know, I asked the stupid question about ice cream. 114 responses when the last 12 posts got nothing. Talk about frustrated. Just a little bit. So then I'm like, okay, toilet paper, over or under? Another 100 responses. Y'all, it was beyond batshit crazy frustrating, right? Because I'm sitting here talking about business and people want to talk about toilet paper. So y'all probably sometimes wonder why Haley and Meg and some of the other people in my group post kind of crazy things, and why, Tish has her microphone. And to some extent, we're being silly because we know that it gets your attention. It gets your participation. It gets people engaged. It gets them involved. And, it's kind of this funny balance. There's some psychology behind it. The best author I know who talks about some of this behavioral psychology is Dan Ariely. He's a faculty member at Duke. As he's a faculty member in Fuqua's School of Business, and he's written a whole series of books called Predictably Irrational, The Upside of Irrationality, and a lot of this irrational behavior. So people come in wanting to talk about their businesses, which is great, but they're not really willing to talk about their businesses. They're wanting to keep it at a really superficial level. So one of the things I have played with over time is how much real conversation can we actually have versus the fluff, and trying to balance fluff with real conversation. Real in-depth, honest, raw conversation about business. And it's something that I personally really struggle with. It's something that I really try to balance. I'm always putting out content. I'm putting stuff onto YouTube. And, there are times where I'm sitting here going, why in the world am I getting flipping crickets? And it's just human nature. We like to play. We like the really catchy titles. We like the really flashy coaches and stuff. And I get that kind of a thing. Because we don't really like to be sold to, but we do like to be invited into this experience. So one of the things that I've learned in Women's Entrepreneur Network is that it has to be an experience. So one of the things you see us reflecting in Women's Entrepreneur Network, and I think that it's important in other groups as well, is that you're paying attention to the overall user experience. If you look at Disney World, let's be real here. You're going to a freaking swamp in the middle of Florida, in the middle of summer, and you're paying top dollar to go stand there and get swamp butt in the middle of summer in 95-degree weather with 100% relative humidity and, occasional thunderstorms. And we're paying them a lot of money to do this. Why? Because of that entertainment value, right? That experience, that user experience. So when we start talking about our marketing and we start talking about our Facebook groups and we start talking about these things that we're doing, a lot of it is the user experience. What user experience are you creating for people? And it's not an easy answer. It's a very in-depth experience for people. And, one of the things that I really encourage you to do with your marketing is figuring out what that look, that feel, that brand, that user experience is with you. Brand is that entire experience. It's not just a pretty logo on a piece of paper, or having the world's coolest business cards. So, you really want to figure out what your methods of marketing are that work for you. What works for me may not work for you. What works for Computer Geek Haley may not work for you. As my team well knows, because we do a lot of digital marketing, I can do a lot of my own tricks. I'm a programmer. I can get into Ontraport. I can get into ConvertKit. I can get into all these systems. I can build websites. Next thing they know, sometimes there's like an extra website like hanging out of nowhere because Haley felt like building a website this weekend, or, whatever. And Tish says, you're reminding me about watching the movie Bohemian Rhapsody. It didn't feel like a movie. It felt like a concert experience, right? It is that experience. So you think about what that experience is when somebody's doing business with you through that whole entire process. And that becomes ingrained and inherent in your marketing. So if y'all ever wonder why Haley does crazy things, or why Tish does, and why I kind of encourage people that are around me to do a little bit of that nonsense, it's not because I'm not serious about business. It's not because I don't have the education. It's not because I'm stupid. Although I think sometimes people think I've lost my marbles. And in fact, my teenagers definitely tell you that I'm a few cards short of a deck. It's because I'm focusing on that user experience and really trying to draw people into that playful experience, that Disney experience, that edutainment experience that is Women's Entrepreneur Network. So that's part of my why with my marketing. So y'all have been really patient with me tonight. And I thank you for listening. And thank you for all the comments. I am going to pull out my favorite deck of cards, which is the Love Your Inner Goddess deck. These are Oracle cards, which have really great messages. Can't do the light work without the shadow work sometimes. And it really helps me with a little bit of inspiration here, there, and yon. So the cards are really pretty. And they have some really awesome reminders for us. So I'm going to stir cards. Ida says, number 7, please. If you have a request for a card, make sure you put it in here. And if you have questions about marketing, make sure you type those in too. I can pull cards and answer all the most serious business questions in the world. This is kind of the part that people are like, Haley, you're kind of nuts. This is part of it. Patty Lou, who's on my wall, says top. Ida says number 7. Debbie says number 5. So I'm going to stir some cards up. I can't really shuffle these very well because I suck shuffling. Number 3. 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay. This is the top card. And Tish would be different from everybody else because Tish is just different. And that's one of the things that I absolutely adore about Tish. Okay, so this is the top one. This is for you, Patty. Tribe of the Kindred. Home is where the heart is. Give your heart permission to reveal to you the people, places, and activities that feel like home for you. You are in a phase of transition in your life, casting off that which is not true to your heart in favor of that which really feels like it belongs in your world. Sometimes the mind resists, thinking that if we let go of too much, we'll be left with nothing, and that it's better to hold on even if something isn't quite right. This prevents you from being able to find your way home. It's safe to trust your heart as it attracts into your world that which is truly meant for you. That's 1. 2. Number 3, Lay. This one is for you, my friend. This is Amalthea. Your soul is learning about love. Whether you fully realize it or not, you are breaking free from a pattern of relationship that has not been respectful enough of you and your heart. This includes relationships you have had with yourself, with others, be they friends, romantic connections, colleagues, or strangers, and even the universe. As you allow yourself to feel worthy and release feelings of hate, shame, guilt, or judgment towards yourself, a new spirit of gentleness, love, and devotion will fill your heart and transform the quality of your connections with others and the universe. A beautiful new world of love is opening up to you. Number 5. Here we go. That's 4. This is 5. Creatrix. Here we go. 5. Debbie, this is for you. Your soul is a divine creative fire. She wants to break free from what has been and give life to something new. You may experience this as feelings of restlessness, of being confined, or as a craving for something more that you cannot quite articulate. Your soul doesn't want you to push that new life away. She wants you to embrace it. When you let go of your inhibitions and freely express yourself, stagnant situations will be cleared out by the powerful release of your energy, which creates openness. Let your inner artist out to play in whatever way feels fun, raw, and honest for you. It's time for you to experience something new. And this one is for you, Ida. Bench Spirit Guide. It's a good time to experiment with how to best care for your mind, body, and soul. It's not about being perfect. It's about finding what works for you. You are in a phase of your life where giving back to yourself is important. Perhaps sharing a lot of yourself with others, have come through a challenging time, or in the near future will be stepping up in a new way to share more creative energy and soul fire than ever before. All that you need to know now is that it is the right time to take extra special care for you. I'm dying laughing, Ida. I am just dying laughing. I did not do that on purpose, I assure you. 1, 2, 3. This one is for you, Tish. 34. Tish, this one's for you. Your heart, you have been asking for something different, something more, and the universe is answering your prayers. Oh boy, is it ever, darling. You do not need to be afraid of the changes happening or that are going to happen for you. They are part of that answer from the universe. You might feel uncertain because you cannot see how it is all going to work out. But know that the universe is caring for you and will provide a way to move through the transition with grace. You are not crazy to willingly enter this experience. There is nothing that you need avoid and so much that you will gain. That is hilarious. I did not go searching for that card in the deck, I gotta say, but I think that was awesome and it was perfect. So now I'm going to laugh myself silly over here. I hope that you guys have an awesome night. I am Haley Gray. I'm the group owner in the Women's Entrepreneur Network. If y'all need help with marketing, reach out, let me know. I'll be happy to help you guys. Take care and have an awesome night. I love you guys and I appreciate every single one of you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. Bye-bye.